welcome to another episode of Macro Insights. We're still in Adelaide. We're here for the day. It looks like we brought some Melbourne weather with us. You wouldn't know it's spring, but we do have this beautiful pub behind us, lovely sandstone building. Have you eaten there?
I have. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend
lovely.
the Kentish.
So I want to talk to, I've got Heath here. This is Heath. And I wanted to talk to him today about affordability, where Adelaide's sitting on the property clock, and some other interesting facts. He's all about facts and figures. So
I am partial to a stat.
You are. So can you tell me, and anyone else who might not understand or know, what the Affordability Index is?
Sure. The Affordability Index is a key metric that Performance Property looks at. It is the median income into servicing the median house price mortgage at a certain point in time, calculated an LVR of 80%.
Okay, that makes sense. So what is Adelaide's current?
Adelaide's currently sitting at 26%, well below its long-term average around 30-35.
Okay, and if we can put that in perspective for people in Sydney, Melbourne, or knowing about their affordability issues, what are they sitting at?
Sydney's currently sitting at 56%. We've only seen that 5 times in 30 years, and whenever it's hit that sort of level, prices have generally pulled back or stagnated. Melbourne's sitting around 43%, which is also historically quite high. Whenever it gets above 45%, price growth generally starts to slow. So in comparison, Adelaide's quite affordable.
Okay, lovely. So, I mean, you sort of hear around that Adelaide isn't like a good place to invest in, or people don't necessarily sort of look to it as a place to invest in, with, you know, maybe thinking that it doesn't actually perform like other capital city
I hear that
markets.
all the time. Adelaide, really? But
so, well, what can you say to that?
Oh, look, Adelaide has performed in line with Melbourne and Sydney. So the long-term compounding growth rate has been around 8.37% since the 1970s. It's currently tracking well below that, around 2.3% over the last 7 years. So it is closer to the bottom of the cycle, but fundamentally, long-term, it has performed.
Okay, so sorry, just going back to that figure, 8.3.
8.4.
That is saying that long-term, per annum compounding, it grows 8.3%, Adelaide.
Correct.
And that is on par with Sydney
That's
and
the
Melbourne.
median house price, going back to the 1970s, which is on par with Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane.
But the best thing about that is, last 7 years, only 2% growth.
That's right, yeah,
okay.
Just a smidge over 2. So obviously underperforming its long-term growth rate.
Okay, so what's something else that we look at? What's the yields doing in Adelaide? Yields
are a little bit higher than Melbourne, what we're seeing in Melbourne and Sydney, particularly for blue chip property. So they're currently sitting in Adelaide around 3.8% for your standard 3-bedroom house. In comparison to Melbourne and Sydney, is sitting around 2.6, 2.8%.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, big question. This is always, what I love to know. Where do you think Adelaide is sitting on the property clock?
Look, given that the market's only up around 16, 17% since 2011, if we look at an 11, 12-year growth cycle, or a doubling cycle, that's not a lot of growth over the last 6 years. So I'd put it down towards the bottom, closer to 6 o'clock. I'd say it's around 7:30.
Okay. Well, there you go. Heath has said Adelaide at 7:30 on the clock. Let's see if he's right. We can only tell in the future.